It's your boy, Cardinal Red, and we back for some more Ali Land boxing talk. So let's get it.
Still possess the Manny magic, or will Malaysia be the final stop of Pacquiao's legendary career? Here we go. Pac-Man versus the Machine for the WBA World Welterweight Championship.
Beautifully timed left uppercut for Manny Pacquiao there. Let's see how he reacts.
What a start for Pacquiao! This crowd has erupted! And there's a right hand. Finally, Matthysse finding some success. The best round so far for Matthysse. Not sure he won it.
Now, I will say I saw Manny Pacquiao firsthand eating a steak the day before the weigh-in, which I don't know if not, but it seems to be paying off today because he's looking very strong in there.
Oh.
There's a potential opponent, American, and there are a lot of potential opponents there, like Crawford, Lomachenko. There's so many fighters that potential to be my opponent next, but it depends on how the decision goes.
What up? It's your boy, Cardinal Red. We back for some more of that Ali Land boxing talk. Yeah, and the fix is in. We just witnessed Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matthysse. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Was an excellent fight. Of course, Manny Pacquiao scored the 7th round knockout. But now questions are floating around on whether the fix is in and did Lucas Matthysse actually take a dive. I want to congratulate Manny Pacquiao on his big win. You know, he looked excellent. You know, making a strong comeback, making his presence felt still at 40 years old in the sport of boxing. Boo Boy Fernandez, man, he had an excellent game plan. They worked that uppercut to perfection, man, and brought Manny Pacquiao back into the limelight. But let's dive into this topic, man. People are, I've been watching a lot of, YouTube boxing talk, boxing channels, man, here in the past couple of weeks since the fight happened, and people are really pushing this line about the fight being fixed, and maybe Lucas Matthysse took a dive, or maybe Manny Pacquiao paid him off. Somebody paid him off, which doesn't make any sense. Let's take a look at some of these angles. This is what gets me about guys on these boxing channels, man. They talk a lot of mess about Pacquiao, but and they bring up these scenarios which make no sense, and they don't even it's like they go from one scenario to the next, which makes no sense. But the scenario they're pushing right now is maybe that Lucas Matthysse took a dive, Pacquiao paid him off or something to that nature, which makes no sense because, excuse me, a lot of them same guys say that Pacquiao's broke. So if you're broke, you have no money to pay anybody off. So it really gets on my nerves to hear some of these guys and the way they just push nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Some people saying Oscar De La Hoya, paid him to take a dive, which makes no sense. I mean, Lucas Matthysse is his fighter. Why would you want your own fighter to take a dive? It doesn't make him look any better. It definitely don't make you look no better than that he has another loss on this record. And the fact of the matter is, Manny Pacquiao, I believe, is now the super champion. Why wouldn't Lucas Matthysse want to be super champion? Why would he take a dive when his, that could have elevated his career to the next level? So that really makes no sense. You have guys saying that Manny Pacquiao is doing this because he's broke, which really makes no sense. I mean, if he's broke, how can you pay off fighters if you if you broke? The only actual scenario within that would make some sense about somebody getting paid off would be maybe Bob Arum paid him, which still makes no sense because if you watch some of these past interviews with Bob Arum and him speaking about the Manny Pacquiao Terrence Crawford fight, he said his matchmakers feel like Manny Pacquiao still too much for Terrence Crawford, and that's not a good fight for Terrence Crawford at this point in his career. So at the end of the day, it doesn't make much sense for Bob Arum to pay off Matthysse to take a dive because it only makes the Manny Pacquiao Terrence Crawford fight that much more intriguing. You know, people are going to be clamoring to see that fight even more now, which I don't see it happening because I feel the same way. I feel like Manny Pacquiao still, even at 40 years old, is still too much for Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, if you watch him, man, you can see what he's susceptible to. He's susceptible to a left-handed fighter, a fast left-handed fighter that can counterpunch. And if you watch him, you can see that. You know what I'm saying? But to me, the obvious next opponent, there are a couple of obvious next opponents. I would say there are about 4 to 5 guys that are serious. I would say that could be taken serious as Manny Pacquiao's next opponent. I know the one guy who I would say 90% chance he's not gonna fight is Vasily Lomachenko. For the simple fact, it makes no sense for him to drop down if he's gonna fight 2 to 3 more times. It makes no sense for him to drop down to 135 just to go right back up to 147. It just don't make. Unless Vasily Lomachenko is gonna come up to 140, then I can see that fight happening. But I think he's happy at 135 right now. I don't think he's gonna move up no time soon. The other fights that the people are talking about is Amir Khan, and I like that fight. It's an okay fight, but in my eyes, the best fight out there for him at welterweight right now would be that would bring in a nice crowd and would be a nice challenge for him would be Kell Brook. I would put Kell Brook slightly ahead of Amir Khan still, for no specific reason. I just like Brook a little better. And next, I would put Adrian Broner. I would like to see Pacquiao Broner. That would be a great fight. And third, I would have to put Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, and then fourth, Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia. You know, those would be the actual opponents that would be in front of Manny Pacquiao next. Like who? And of course, I would see him fight one of those guys, and then maybe if he wins again, getting a super fight with a rematch with Floyd Mayweather after that. Hopefully, you know, we get that one more time, and then both of those guys can go on and be done with the sport of boxing. It's just surprising to hear people on YouTube talk the way they talk about Manny Pacquiao and the fact that he's a legend, man. I don't see why they downplay what he's done so much and why they speak such ill about him, you know. Even to Freddie Roach, you know, he was acting a little salty there for a little while when it all happened when Pacquiao did leave, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I like Freddie Roach, so I'm not saying Freddie Roach is a bad guy, but he'll say, you know, he's getting old and senile, so he'll say one thing and then his opinion will change in the next interview, and it's like I don't know, man. It's like he'll diss Pacquiao one breath and then praise him in the next one. It's kind of like he's salty a little bit, but not salty at Pacquiao, but maybe he's salty at Bob Arum because maybe he's tied into a contract with Bob Arum he just can't get out of yet. And on the other hand, you know, I think Manny Pacquiao is one of his favorite fighters, and he's he's taking along a lot of responsibility. He's got a bunch of new fighters, some Olympic fighters from Mexico, and he's doing something with the Contender this year. So his plate is pretty full. So I look at the situation between Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach more like it's Freddie Roach has too much on his hands at the moment, more than it's them beefing. It makes for a good storyline after 20 years for them. Brings in new people thinking that something's really going on between them, which I don't really think it is. But after 20 years, the controversy sells. You know what I'm saying? So, but like you heard Manny Pacquiao say, he's not closed the door yet on Freddie Roach, man. So let Freddie just be Freddie, old, senile, and wishy-washy. As far as Bob Arum goes, Bob Arum, he's just a promoter, man. He's always got something going. So, but I don't feel like he's such a shiesty guy to where he would have paid Lucas Matthysse off to take a dive. We gotta understand Lucas Matthysse in the Victor Postol fight. He said he got hit with a punch that was so hard that he went blind for a few seconds. So, and that was the the first knockdown. That was the eye Manny Pacquiao clipped him in. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know whether that eye is just that bad or or if that punch was just that good. It obviously had some type of effect because he went down. If you watch the clips in the beginning, Manny Pacquiao wasn't hitting him with no pillow punches. He was actually tagging them. These was really good punches, and when you see it in HD, you can really see how good those punches were and how solidly they were landing. So I'm not gonna take nothing away from Lucas Matthysse for not wanting to continue to take that type of damage. He's not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what type of problems that man has with his eyes, or whether he's at the point where his eyes or his skull maybe just can't take that type of pressure anymore. When you're at that type of weight class, man, it's a different. And them guys say, Manny Pacquiao hasn't had any knockouts for such a long time, and it's not that he can't knock guys out at welterweight. It's that he's 12 pounds heavier than he was when he was really knocking guys out and beating guys up real bad. And speed equates to power when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. And when you put on 25% more body mass, you drop 25% in speed. It's just the way things work, because the bigger you get, the slower you get. So you can't look at it that Manny Pacquiao now he's at welterweight that he can't knock guys out. It's that he's slightly slower. When he was at 135, he was throwing more than 100 punches every round. He's not doing that anymore. Guys have heavier hands at that weight, so when you're throwing more than 100 punches, you're leaving yourself open to be knocked out more than 100 times. So you got to look at it like that, man. You can't look at it like Manny Pacquiao hasn't knocked anybody out, and as a welterweight, really, it's not that fact. It's the fact that he's heavier, he's carrying more weight, he's slightly slower because he's carrying more weight, and guys are bigger, they can absorb more, and guys can punch harder at that weight class. So you can't leave yourself that much more open, or you're gonna get marcast. So I just don't understand why people they nitpick so much when it comes to Pacquiao. And I don't feel like the fight was fixed. I feel like it was actually a fight. Manny Pacquiao proved this point that he can still go at 40 years old, that he's not done yet. He's not fighting the top tier of competition, but Lucas Matthysse was a champion, so you can't say he wasn't fighting the top tier of competition. But that's Ali Land Boxing Talk, man. Please like and subscribe, y'all. And let's get it, man. Alright, we out of here. I got some things to do. Yeah, buy me a chain or two.